Alright guys, so who was at the changing of the guard last year? Show of hands. Who was there last year? Alright, does anybody remember being really chastised by Marley on the attendance thing? Does anybody remember that? Yeah, honestly I was a little taken aback because I was one of the people she was talking about that did not have perfect attendance last year. And it was tough to hear because I really felt like she was taking me out of the woodshed. I know she wasn't talking to me specifically, but it was tough. So I think Woody Allen said that 80% of success in life is just showing up. And it's also been said that showing up is not all of life, but it counts for a lot. And I think that's absolutely true. Our club has a very long legacy of showing up. Showing up to meetings, showing up to service projects, and our success is apparent because we show up. I was new to the club when David Pike was making his graceful exit, from the earth, and I slowly learned about his impact on the club. And I also learned that to him, attendance and showing up was huge. I think he was probably one of the first leaders of the club that really compelled the club to show up 100% of the time. And I've heard some amazing stories about what this club did under his leadership. And I think that should continue to be a focus of this club, and definitely try to make that a focus this year. We have an outstanding current legacy of showing up. I don't want to brag on any club in particular, but there are some check writing clubs. There are some clubs that don't do the service projects that we do, that really try to make their impact with writing checks. And you can write checks. And fundraising is obviously very important. We make a ton of impact with the fundraising that we do, and the amount of money that we chip in. But our most impactful members are the ones that do more than just write a check and do more than steward fundraising efforts. Dan, for example, is a hell of a fundraiser. He's made a ton of money for children in Vietnam, but he's not satisfied with that. Dan shows up. He goes to Vietnam. He's boots on the ground. He shows up. We have a number of members in the crowd today. Who's been to Haiti? Raise your hand. Yeah. And there's a lot of Haiti today. Yeah. So again, you can raise money like the Midget family did, and you can send that to Haiti, or you can raise money and you can go, you can show up, and that's what this club does. There's a ton of examples of people just doing that and showing up. We had David Crabtree, a new member. His church, you guys have seen that palace on Pleasant Ridge that he presides over. His church is enormous. I know they have a lot of financial resources, but he wasn't satisfied with that. He got on a bike in Africa and he showed up to spread his message. And that's what we do. In years past, we've had various awards that we hand out, and some have been real nice. Some of I think have been sticky notes, but at any rate, we're trying to
hockey puck. Don't forget the hockey puck.
I wasn't here for the hockey puck. I missed that. Excellent. What we're trying to do is we're going to do something a little bit different moving forward with the attendance awards. We've got plaques for the people that had perfect attendance this year. And on the plaque, what you're going to see is if you've had perfect attendance in years past, you're going to have two discs. You're going to have a disc that shows how many years perfect attendance you've had through 2011, 2012, which was last Rotary year. And you'll have a disc for your perfect attendance for this year. And then in future years, we'll be able to add a disc to your plaque to show your perfect attendance. And guys, if your past years of perfect attendance isn't right, you have no one to blame but yourself. I sent out the email. But seriously, if it is incorrect, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get you the correct disc. I've got these in order of at least from what my records are, and understanding, guys, attendance records weren't really automated until the last few years, and went the last few years. I mean, since like 2005, 2006. So a lot of the historical records are really tough to get a hold, but we've made an effort to try to get a handle on everybody's past years of perfect attendance. So without further ado, I'm going to call the people that made perfect attendance this year. If you're present, please come up and get your plaque. And I'm going to start with the first years. Vic Nussbaum had perfect attendance this year.
Cheers, because this is going to.
Beth Sheffield, perfect attendance this year. We may have to send them down the line.
Congratulations.
And this one, this is one of the historical records, one that I'm a little bit suspect on, but Chuck Langdon had perfect attendance this year, showing his first year. I'm guessing he probably had other years, but Cheryl David, perfect attendance. Take it down.
Take it down, pass it around. I'm in charge of the computer.
Cooper Trotter, perfect attendance. This is another one. I was only showing in the records 1 year. If you have more Cooper, just send me an email. Max Curran had perfect attendance. All right, so I think, we're through our first years. Steve Brannon had 1 year through 2011, 2012, and he had perfect attendance again this year. This is, the next one is going to be more proof that nobody reads my email. Jim Kennedy, I'm showing with 1 year and this year.
Just throw it.
Pete Gursky has 1 year plus this year. I think Pete's here tonight. All right, so the next one, in typical Ashley fashion, way too humble. She sent me an email and said, I was on leave of absence, but you know what? She was on a leave of absence. She played by the rules. She requested the leave of absence so we could get our record straight, and she had perfect attendance this year and the 2 years previous. She said, "Don't give me a plaque," but I'm not listening to her.
Next year I'll have real perfect attendance.
Ross Geller, 2 years and this year. Mr. Dan Quinn, 3 years in this year. Come on up, Patrick. Tom Nelson, 4 years in this year. Dennis Newman, 4 years in this year. Did Jonathan Smith not come tonight? Where's Jonathan? What is up with that?
I'll take his.
There's no conflict. All right, Jonathan Smith. I'm showing 5 years in this year. I'm guessing that's probably wrong. But.
He's auctioning himself.
Tony Huemeyer, 5 years in this year. Mr. Bobby Christensen, my sponsor, 7 years and this year. Richard Needham, 7 years in this year. Dale Meltzer, who wins my award for most database challenged, 7 years in this year. David Graves was 8 years in this year. My favorite Republican, Chip Person, 8 years in this year. Keep your seat. Keep your seat. No, really.
Can I have the microphone?
Rob wanted to talk.
We're bored as a feather.
Mike Crick, 8 years in this year. Kelly Harrell, 10 years in this year. Mike Slane, 11 years in this year. This is Tom Sears' 14th year.
They have no life.
It's time to get off both ways in the snow to Rotary, even in July, with no shoes on.
Mr. Happy Dollars himself, Buster Lewis, 14 years. If he's not proof that just showing up will get you somewhere.
Live long enough to get an award. Good job, bud.
Sand, I still owe you a lap dance.
This is also Chip Dale's 14 year. Blake Hunt's 14th year. Gosh, how many of you guys started 14 years ago? Dorothy Downey, 14th year. Now this guy reads my emails. James Edwards, 17 years. Rob Edgen, 20 years.
I'll send out an email.
All right, and he's not here tonight, and I know, like, this guy gets so much grief about attendance and being late and whatever.
What does he look like?
A judge. But I'm telling you, Robbie Hassel, this is his 24th year, and he does do every makeup. I mean, he is on it. Like, that guy gives me makeups before I even ask for them. So Robbie Hassel, 24. And our leader in attendance, who's actually present with us tonight, Mike Conrad, 23rd year.
Start the song. For he's a jolly good fellow. You go ahead. No one.
All right, so I'm going to turn the program over to our esteemed leader, Miss Darlene Leonard, and as I put this mic down, I want you guys to raise the roof. She has done an amazing job this year. Darlene.
Great night. I would like to bring up my board and recognize them for the hard work because they really have made this year possible. It's been an extremely challenging year because we've had a lot of new folks in different seats in the board, but they've really done a great job. So I'd like to bring them up, each one. You know, we have a couple that are missing, so I'd like to recognize Sarah Doggett for the Interact and the youth program. She's not here tonight, but her co-leader in Tony Humeyer is here. Tony, can you come up and accept this? I tell you what, you try to lead a group of teenagers, and it's a challenge, as many know. But
herding cats.
Herding cats. They've done a great job. Next, I'd like to recognize Richard Needham for coordinating events like tonight, for our holiday party, coordinating the invocations each week. He's really had a tough job, and I appreciate Richard Needham. Richard, thank you, Richard.
She's my pleasure. I clap extra.
And what would we do without the past wisdom, or the wisdom of our past presidents? And Buster Lewis has served as the past president's chair, just been an integral part of our board. We're trying to keep that continuity of the folks that have, paid the dues, earned the rights to have an opinion, and impart their wisdom on our group. So Buster, can you come forward and accept this?
called the dead president.
That's next. And I tell you, one of the toughest jobs is the grant chairperson with the foundation. And Beth Sheffield took on that role this year. You know, it's a lot of new information to handle, handling the grant request, and then the Paul Harris, and make sure we have all of our documentation in order so we can continue to be triple crowned. So thank you, Beth. And this year we took the leap into social media with our new website and Facebook. So I'd like to recognize Steve Brandon for our Steve World Wide Web. We appreciate your work, Steve.
I just thought it was public image, meaning I was the image of the club.
That too. Thanks, Steve. Randy Elliott couldn't be here tonight. He's having some back issues, so definitely keep him in your thoughts and prayers. But Randy's done a great job on the membership side of the world and helped us keep getting the great members into the club. You know, the other presidents definitely are jealous of our club because they said, well, we understand you have a waiting list, people trying to get in. And it's like, yeah, that's right. But, you know, it's because we have such a great group and it makes it very attractive. So it's easy to get the good members. But Randy does a great job. The next most thankless job out there is probably that of the treasurer. So I'd like to recognize Ross Gell. For a banker, Ross makes a pretty good accountant, so phenomenal job. I'd like to next recognize Chris Justice as our awesome secretary. He's definitely been our taskmaster to get our attendance in order. And what would Rotary be without service above self? And so the service projects were led by Dan Quinn this year, and what an awesome job he did. So and as we get in line for president, we now have Emily Houle in the lineup.
Yay, Emily!
So we're glad to have her back home and back into the club and look forward to a great year with her fundraiser. And next but not least, Bobby Christensen. Bobby did a great job with the fundraiser this year and lining up some awesome programs. Let's give him a hand for the program. Have had a really good year, and I think the programs have been a big part of that because it definitely, when the members, new members come to visit, it's not a good program, they're not coming back, but we've had a few come and visit and visit and visit, right, Kevin? You have to visit for a long time. It's part of the test to see if you have the endurance to last through the process. And I'm pleased to say that we have a couple incoming new members visiting with us tonight. We have Tommy and Tony both here tonight visiting. They'll be inducted into the new year, so thank you for joining us tonight. Doing something a little bit different this year, we've kind of held off on our Paul Harris recognitions as they've come in through the year, so I'd like to take the time to just recognize, you know, the folks that have come in as new Paul Harris members and those that are, you know, duplicating their Paul Harris contributions. And I think it's a good time just to remind the group of, you know, what Paul Harris is all about, which is kind of the foundation of Rotary. But the Paul Harris Fellowship is named for Paul Harris, who founded Rotary with 3 business associates in Chicago in 1905. The fellowship was established in his honor in 1957 to express appreciation for a contribution of $1,000 to the humanitarian and educational programs of the Rotary Foundation. Those programs include an array of projects that save and invigorate the lives of people around the world and enhance international friendship and understanding. Foundation programs provide educational opportunities, food, water, health care, immunizations, and shelter for millions of persons. These activities are funded, implemented, and managed by Rotarians and Rotary clubs like Gate City around the globe. We move closer to a more peaceful world today, and as the following Gate City Rotary members become Paul Harris Fellows, would the following people please come forward? We have Kevin Barr, Cheryl David, Michael Yarborough, and Rachel Meisterberg to induct. Your contribution to the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International is alleviating suffering, improving living conditions, and providing educational opportunities for young people around the world. This is truly a selfless action. Therefore, it gives me great pleasure to present to you, on behalf of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, the two emblems of a Paul Harris Fellow, the certificate and lapel pin. The certificate states that you have been named a Paul Harris Fellow, quote, in appreciation of tangible relations between peoples of the world, end quote. We urge you to wear the Paul Harris Fellow pin to all Rotary events as a symbol of your appreciation for and support of the programs of the Rotary Foundation. Please accept congratulations and sincere appreciation for your commitment to our common goals of world understanding and peace. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate and recognize the newest Paul Harris Fellows. Now let us recognize the other Gate City Rotary members who have gone beyond the initial $1,000 donation. When I call your name, please come forward. So in addition to the $1,000, we also have several members tonight that are recognized for a second $1,000 contribution. Dale Meltzer, I don't think Dale's here tonight. Jonathan Smith, Mike Slane is here, so Mike, can you come forward? And then also Mike Allen should be recognized, so thank you. This Rotary member, again, just exemplifies Rotary and just, moves the bar higher for each one of us. I would like to recognize Mike Conrad for his 8th Paul Harris contribution. What an outstanding group we have. So now for our special awards for this evening, I would like to recognize a couple of special Rotarians that we have among us. The first is one of my favorites. It's Rookie of the Year. Joining in October, this Rotarian was already a proven business owner in the community. However, she rolled up her sleeves and quickly earned the stripes as a Gate City Rotarian. She did not hesitate to get involved and volunteer serving as Shadows Day coordinator, which can be referred to as herding cats, I understand, and can be difficult to coordinate. She also quickly accepted the responsibility of Sergeant of Arms, which those of you who've served in that role know what undertaking that is. And not only did she take on the Sergeant of Arms role, but she also got it organized, created a standard operating procedure, guideline to get us all organized. And then, this was the greatest feat of all, she got the O. Henry to agree to setting up and taking down our banners and name tags and everything. So that's a huge relief to anyone that takes on that responsibility. Please congratulate Cheryl David. People will be thanking you for years to come. Now, the motto of Rotary is service above self, so that's always a great award and a challenging award to hand out because there are so many great Rotarians in our group. This Rotarian is a relatively new member to Gate City Rotary. He joined in 2011 and served tirelessly in the Sergeant of Arms and Queen of Hearts role before the O. Henry agreed to set up and take down for about 2 years. He is always present at our service projects and models the way with his family by his side. He's an active member at Our Lady of Grace. He's very active with his sons in the Boy Scouts and puts in countless hours there. And he's also a board member of the Center for Education and Imagination in the Nature World. Please join me in congratulating Danny Farley. I now have 2 special awards that I would like to recognize, and one it's Outstanding Service Awards. I'd like to recognize the man to the right of me, Chris Justice, who has served as our secretary. And I know the attendance awards has kind of been out there, and Chris has been the attendance Nazi and getting everybody to get theirs in. But he also has improved the process. I mean, getting folks to, yeah, you can go online and do your own makeups. It's and registering that, and that's so important because if you just keep continuing to do things the same old way and frustrating everyone, it's a hassle. He's updated our bylaws this year, got us all legal with that, and then, when you're managing a group of volunteers, you have so many documents running around different places. He set up a Dropbox, and now we can store our documents in a common place, and setting up standard operating procedures. So I'd like to give this gift to Chris Justice. Thank you. Another special person that I would like to recognize for an Outstanding Service Award is Ross Geller, our treasurer. Thank you, Ross. Ross has really served in a tireless role, converting us. We were on a standalone QuickBooks system. We're now in the clouds for Rotary with our QuickBooks, and gotten a lot of information caught up on our receivables and invoicing timely so that you're not getting, invoices so late, and really done a yeoman's job of converting that. So thank you, Ross. I appreciate that.
Hey, Ross.
Best award that we give out each year is Rotarian of the Year. And again, that's very challenging because we have so many phenomenal people in our group. But this Rotarian, I think, is well deserving. He joined the club in 2009, and some would say you already had the Rotarian blood in the family, but others would say that he acted like a Rotarian before he got the official title. He's not only very involved with his family, he runs a thriving business, and in his spare time finds ways to help both humans and animals alike. He has served as the Gate City Rotary Project Chair this year and is a vital board member and advocate of the children of Vietnam. Please join me in congratulating Danny. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. As you can see from the awards given tonight, this is truly an outstanding club. The hard work of each of our members makes the president's job so much easier. I would like to thank all of the members for your support this year. I would also like to thank my board. There are a lot of folks in new roles, and they really stepped up to the challenge. And last but not least, I would like to thank Todd for his patience and support as I've had my head buried in my laptop with many Rotary projects or making up for taking care of my clients when I was off doing Rotary projects during the day. So thank you, Todd. And I wish Bobby and his new board much success as I look forward to many years as being a member of Gate City Rotary. Thank you very much.
All right, if Mike will come up.
All right, this is awesome. Just being a charter member of this club, and I know Buster, I think he and I are the only ones here that are still, oh, Jim Kennedy. There's not many of us left, but this club has just continued to thrive. It's just been amazing from those days back in 1991, if you remember that. I think we started at that, it used to be a hotel in Ambassadorial, or a hotel across, a Ramada Inn across from the Greensboro College, which is now a dump, I think, for college kids or whoever wants to stay there. I think they're really trying to jive it up, but they got a ways to go with that, because I go by it every day and I see the stuff that's coming out the windows, and it doesn't look very good. I can tell you that right now. But, you know, this is truly an honor for me to be here tonight and to do this. We're a Triple Crown Club, that's been said. The beauty of that is we've continued to be a Triple Crown Club. Many clubs that attain that status don't maintain that status. And we're a club that does what we say we're going to do. And every year that we bring in new members, they're going to be benefactors, and they're going to be Paul Harris Fellows. And you don't know how much I appreciate that, because now I'm going to become the foundation chair for the district for the next 3 years. So Beth and I are joined at the hip, and she and I, with this club, I don't have to worry, but I have some other challenges that I'm sure that will be fun to work with, because as you know, I'm a pretty fun person. But I do want to start out by just, you know, Bobby had asked me to give him my remarks, and I don't know why, because I think he thought past district governors kind of spewed on forever. So he kind of wanted to know what I was going to say. But Bobby, in the end analysis, you're going to find out I'm going to get you. So what I'd really like to do in this installation is I'd like to call up all the officers and directors, if you would, for Bobby's year for 2013-2014. And Danny Farley is going to be club service, if Danny would come forward. Beth Sheffield will be foundation. Steve Brannon, public image. And by the way, public image is a huge, what we really need to be thriving on in terms of what we do in Rotary. We don't tell our story enough, and this club has a big story to tell. So we really need to get the news out in terms of what we're doing in the community. Cooper Trotter, he's helping with the new generations. Chris Justice, again, is secretary, and Chris, you've done a yeoman's job. I mean, thank you so much for what you've done. And I love your emails, and this club stands out heads above all the other clubs in the district. I can tell you that right now. Bobby, and when I got this email from Bobby, he gave me the names of everybody. And he said, Bobby Christensen, the big cheese. So I want the big cheese to come up here. Oh, he's got a jacket. This is cool.
No socks.
No socks, but
Khakis.
he had to rent this jacket, I can assure you of this, for tonight's performance. Buster Lewis is still going to be past president on the board. Hope you do this. Emily Houle is president-elect. I mean, we have such great tradition in this club. Ross Geller, treasurer, again, and Ralph Jones is going to be club admin. So if you guys would all come up. Is it? Well, yeah, you can use it for that. All right. Well, really, what I'd really like to do, and I didn't say this, but if the spouse would come up, so you could provide pin your spouse.
She's still wounded.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. And those that don't have a spouse, we'll take care of that too. Okay. All right. Now we're not going to do the pinning now. I'm going to do a little induction stuff before. Okay. But before I do that, you know, we go back. There's some people in this room with Jim Kennedy and Buster. We have been, as past presidents, James Edwards is another one, trying years after years after years to get Bobby to get in line to be the president of our club. And he's always shunned us. And finally, you know, he has stepped to the plate. And, you know, he's going to be our big dog this year. Of course, that is a play on words based on what he does. And the fact that he's going to be our big dog, I went to his folks over at MBL, and I had them to make a ribbon for him. And he's AKC registered, so I want you to know that. But this is the first prize, and I know folks over there that you don't know, see, you know. So I had to go pick this up in the, you know, whenever you weren't there. You're out running somewhere. But if y'all would pin that, would you please pin that on his jacket? No. Yeah.
Bob, you have to wear that at every meeting now.
Especially.
All right, you got it? Now, in addition, I've got a special book for him. It says, it's a cat in a hat book. It said, "If I Ran the Dog Show." And I hope what it says, I hope you're going to get some good tips. It's called the Short, Shaggy Tail, Waggy Super Dog Show. So I know out of this book, you're probably going to get some good tips. And I have to thank my wife for finding this, because this is just for you, Bob.
They wrote that special for Bobby.
That is a special book for Bobby. Okay. Okay. Now we'll get down to business, and we'll do the installation. And so I got these words to say. As you all know, Gate City Rotary Club has a proud and wonderful history, and you have the opportunity of leading our club for 2013-14 as we build communities and bridge continents. It is now your responsibility as officers and directors to search for ways that you can improve our Rotary Club as you lead us to accomplish this year's Rotary International theme, to engage Rotary and change lives. The members of Gate City Rotary Club are looking to you not only for maintaining the great leadership role this club has exhibited in District 7690 and Rotary International, but they are looking to you for fresh and innovative ideas on how to improve our club's service above self efforts locally and internationally. I'm going to now read several very important questions, but I'm going to ask you to wait until I've asked all of them before you respond. Will you support the Constitution and bylaws of Rotary International and the Gate City Rotary Club? Will you support the activities and endeavors of the Gate City Rotary Club? And will you attempt at the best of your ability to fulfill the responsibilities of the office to which you have been duly elected? Will you endeavor to live by the four-way test? Will you act in such a way that you will bring credit and pride in your profession and in your community to the Gate City Rotary Club? If you will, please signify by saying, "I will."
I will.
And now if your spouse would pin you if they hadn't already done so. Have you already done it? He's already been pinned. Do you have a president's pin? I don't know. What we got? Has everybody got a pin? If not, that's okay.
Thanks.
You got it? Can you not get it? All right. We're getting close. Yeah, let's get Bobby pinned. He's already got this. He's got his blue ribbon. All right. Okay, would you please stand and join me in applause of honor for our 2014 officers and directors of the Gate City Rotary Club. Your show.
Who let the dogs
Thank you, Mike. That's a tough act to follow. What do you say after that? Of course, Darlene, you know, your reign lasts, I think, until June 30th, and as most presidents, is there anyone you'd like to pardon before you leave office? I know there's been some terrible things that have happened. Rob Mitchell could use some help.
One in case.
Darlene, on behalf of the members of the Board of Directors, we want to thank you for a great year, a fun year, an energetic year, everything Rotary is about. And I'd like to present you with this beautiful plaque. Chris will help me with.
You know, you can store those in your coat pocket.
Darlene Leonard, President, Gate City Rotary, 2012-2013, presented with sincere appreciation for your dedication to and leadership of the Gate City Rotary Club. He who profits most, who serves best. That's you, Darlene. Thank you. Well, as we all know, light travels faster than sound, and that's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak. I hope that's not the case tonight. I'm always a little fearful when I get in front of a large crowd, and I'm sure you'll all agree we've all been fearful at various times in our lives. I don't remember, but I was probably afraid when I took my first steps. First time I jumped in deep water. First time I dived off of a diving board. First time I rode a bike without training wheels. First time I spent the night away from home. Standing at starting line for the first time I ran a track meet for the mile. First tee shot in a junior golf tournament with people watching. My first kiss. Leaving home to go to college. Learning that my success in life was actually up to me. My first day on the job where I have now worked for 32 years. Matter of fact, after a couple of weeks, I was really worried. I was like, you know, they had this huge computer and all these manuals, and I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff. And wait, they're going to fire me in no time. And then after a couple of weeks, I realized there wasn't anybody there that knew anything about it. The guy that had the job had left. I was the only one, so I had time to figure it out. And it worked out. My first date with the beautiful girl who would later become my wife for the past 28 years, Jill. My first solo in an airplane, and looking over at the empty right seat where my instructor usually sat and realizing there wasn't anybody there and I was in the air. Nobody was going to put that damn thing on the ground but me. Flying my first instrument approach in the fog all the way down to the ground and waiting for the wheels to squeak. Numerous flying things along the way. Getting married, our first child, that day when Jill and I brought our son home from the hospital and we laid him in the cradle. And I think he went to sleep, and we looked at each other and said, now what do we do? All of these times have been scary, and the fears have been real, and they involve very hard work and perseverance. But all became true living experiences with great pleasure and accomplishment. My presidency of Gate City Rotary is also one of these fears, but I also know, based on my past, it will be a great and rewarding experience I'll never forget. I recall my first visit to a Rotary Club years ago when my accountant invited me to lunch at Crescent Rotary. It was an energetic group, and I knew many people there, and my accountant encouraged me to come back with a hope I might be interested in joining. There were several retirees and numerous folks who wore coats and ties. And it was many years ago when a lot of professional people dressed up for work. And that was something I didn't do. And as all of you know, it's something I still don't do. In fact, the idea of being president of this club has been it's been a fearful moment because I might have to start wearing long pants and regular shoes and something besides flip-flops. And I know how y'all make fun of me, but I know that you're just jealous. My mother will tell you how much I hated getting dressed up as a little kid. Anyway, Crescent Rotary was during the lunch hour, and it would have been a difficult time for me during that time in my work career to make it to a lunch meeting, and the idea of dressing up, it just didn't quite fit. Several years later, Rita Davis, who was a member of this club, invited me to Gate City. And the size at that time, there was about 30 members, and the camaraderie and the breakfast hour were perfect. But most of all, it was the incredible energy I saw in the room at that hour of the day that immediately had an effect on me. I really didn't have any idea what Rotary was really about, but I knew definitely I had something in common with those folks in the room. I attended several more meetings, and the rest is history. I had known Buster Lewis many years ago, and I think for a few years Buster and Rita maybe fought over who actually brought me into the club, and there must have been some sort of bounty for new members at that time. A little about me: I grew up in Guilford College, right off Friendly Road, just to the west. And at that time, Guilford College had its own mailing address. It wasn't even part of Greensboro. And back in those days, that was way out in the country. When I knew Buster, who was a city boy, he used to make fun of me and want to know if we had a tractor pull or a turkey shoot for a fundraiser at our high school. And in fact, they did do turkey shoots on the football field for fundraisers. There were miles and miles of untouched land, forests, creeks, and ponds behind my house, and we freely roamed these woods, camped and played. and it was our own country club. We hiked, fished, shot game, and enjoyed the freedom of the outdoors. And I remember one time finding a large supply of scrap wood, and I got my parents to buy me a bag of nails, a handsaw at Hedgecock Builders Supply, and I on paper designed a fabulous 3-story treehouse. Found the perfect spot in the woods with the right trees and enlisted an army of friends to help build it. In fact, tonight, and I wrote the speech before I even knew he was going to join, but one of my biggest helpers on that project was Tom Richardson, who is now, it's totally ironic because I wrote this a long time ago. We practically lived in that treehouse in the summers and even slept there many times, and you could house about a dozen of us in the 3 stories. Rotary is now my youth. The Rotary infrastructure will be my wood, nails, and saw, and the work of Rotary will be the treehouse. And you members will be my friends to enlist. I'm blessed to have all of you to enlist as an army to fulfill the mission of helping others while having fun. As I mentioned before, serving as president of Gate City Rotary is going to be a scary undertaking. I'm following in some great footsteps from previous presidents in serving an incredible group of motivated members. The operation and management of our club is much like a relay race, with the baton passing from one president to the next. I have the good fortune of that baton being passed in a race where we are already way out front. We have a large and growing lead on the field built on a rich past of past presidents. I've been afraid and sometimes worried in anticipation of this day ever since Buster Lewis called me a few years ago asking me to consider the presidency. I've really worried about what sort of clothes I would wear. I have worried about how I would continue to earn the annual Gold Club Award and how embarrassing it would be to break a 14-year streak for our club. Now that I've carefully watched Chip Person and Darlene Leonard, attended presidential training and district assemblies, I have come to learn the Gold Club Award was basically designed as a tool to lure other clubs in the area, in the district, to emulate what Gate City does. I've had more than one district governor tell me Gate City is the actual model for the Gold Club Award. I don't want to get complacent, but as long as we continue to do what we've always done, the Gold Club should be like making a 6-inch putt. It's hard to improve upon perfection, but I'll certainly try to do more than just what we've always done. I sincerely hope to leave my mark with some new projects, innovations, and fun. Our club is diverse. The inherent nature of Rotary and member classifications automatically gives us this diversity, and it's a tremendous strength. I love those great words we use when a new member is inducted. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but is built on those eternal principles that have served as the moral compass for people throughout the ages, as well as the foundation of our great country. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. We have liberals and conservatives, wealthy and non-wealthy, Christian and non-Christian, and possibly even some agnostics and atheists. It really doesn't matter because we're all the same when it comes to service to the world and fellowship. I'll always remember that incredible speaker I lined up last fall, which happened to be during the elections, who was from Czechoslovakia. He told us an incredible story about how he was shipped off as a young teenager to a forced labor camp under Hitler. I wanted to crawl under the table bear with me. wanted to crawl under the table at the point in his presentation when he put up a picture of President Obama and more or less compared him to Hitler as a Nazi. And as soon as he flashed that photo, I just knew that some members would be leaving the room and everybody would be mad at me for lining up such a radical speaker. In fact, my World War II veteran father happened to be a guest at Airport Rotary a few months before and was the one that told me about the man's incredible story, but I had no idea it might involve some politics. As it turned out, everyone appreciated his speech, and many members, probably from both sides of the aisle, stayed afterwards to thank him and speak with him. This was proof to me of the respect we have in this club for diversity. It would be a terribly boring club if we were all alike. I really enjoy learning about our members, and my favorite speakers are our new member talks, when I learn about people's experience, diversity, background, upbringing, families, careers, and beliefs. I'm sure we all have a Rotary moment, that one moment in your life as a Rotarian that stands out with some event, project, speaker, or aspect of Rotary that is profound. It might be ringing a bell at Christmas, standing on a roof working at Habitat House, spilling paint at Camp Carefree, helping someone in need, or a particularly moving speaker at a weekly meeting. It could be getting hit in the head with possum poop from the ceiling tiles at Camp Carefree. A Rob Midget, cat in the shower, happy dollar.
I didn't bring that up, Rob.
Or how about those Hal Stansel, Rosa Victoria reports as they grow up? I encouraged my Rotary moment in the spring of 1999, about a year after I joined. During morning announcements, fellow member and past president Tim Albertson came running into the room in a pair of running short shoes and a tank top. And I think he had a race number pinned to the front of his shirt. And he announced he was planning to train and run the Kiowa Half Marathon in December, was going to use it as a fundraiser, midlife crisis, celebration of turning 40, and raise some money for the club. And he was looking for volunteers and hoping for a large group to go train with him and run with him and go down there and cheer for him. And as many of you know, I was the only person that volunteered. Tim set a date, place, time for everybody interested to show up. And I had done some cross-country running in high school and ran a bit to stay in shape and thought, well, it'd be fun to join Tim and the others. And Tim continued to pitch the idea, but I was the only one that showed up. He and I trained and entered the race, and I hit up my friends and family for contributions and raised about $4,000, and I think Tim raised maybe twice that amount. And when it came time for the race, I started out with Tim for the first several miles, but it was painfully slow. And all sorts of people were passing us, and I just didn't like the idea of that. Some of them were women. I asked him if it would be if he wanted to go any faster, and he told me no, but go for it. So I took off and ended up passing all sorts of people, and I think I finished 75th out of, I don't know, 1,000 or 1,200 people. And then after the race, I wondered, I wonder what would happen if I really trained. And anyway, some of you know it turned into, I've done many things and run much longer and faster, and a couple of years later, on a whim, I entered the Myrtle Beach Marathon about six weeks before and made a pitch to raise money for this club, and it turned into, I guess, our fundraiser for that year, and a lot of members got people to pledge, and I went down and ran it and finished at pretty much same pace. And when I came through the chute, I felt okay. I was definitely tired, but some guy said, "Congratulations, you qualified for Boston." And I said, "What's Boston?" I had no idea. So anyway, the rest is history. But belonging to Gate City mirrors life for me. At age 18, I thought I'd live forever. And now that I'm 55, I think I'm reminded daily that life is short and it's precious. I've experienced all the normal emotions of living while being a member of this club. I've had fun, I've made friends, socialized, I've worked, I've been happy, I've laughed, service to others in need, compassion for others, and experienced the pain and death if we've experienced the loss of some of our members or members of their family. We are truly a family through our membership in Gate City. We are also a member of an even larger worldwide family and can go anywhere in the world and have a connection through Rotary. Chip, you can tell them about wearing your Rotary shirt somewhere around the world, and there's no telling what kind of, you got free Jack Daniels at the distillery out there. Jim Beam, excuse me. But the world is small when it comes to Rotary. It's everywhere. I've come to believe the true gift is to the giver, and it's interesting how a motto of service above self can have so many rewards. We live in a small world, smaller than ever before, with an internet that has put us one click away from anyone, anywhere, anytime. It would be selfish to think we should only look after our local community. Certainly, there are plenty of hungry, homeless, sick, and illiterate people right here in Guilford County. There's plenty of work to do without worrying about people in other countries. However, this is one world, we all live in it, and it is our community. We'll never solve all the problems in the world, but every little bit helps. I believe ultimately the energy and resources we receive are a direct function of the energy and resources we project. It's a simple thought to try to dictate, force, and demand others to do things we think they should do, but in the end, the only entity any of us can control is ourselves. Rotary is a catalyst to collectively leverage the energy in each of us. As Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, once put it, none of us is as good as all of us. It is a great honor to serve as your president, and I promise to do my very best. I promise to never stop trying, and I promise to always uphold the four-way tests we've recited every morning at our Rotary meeting, every Thursday at our Rotary meetings. Is it the truth? Will it be fair to all concerned? You all know the next words. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I ask that you promise to support me and participate as an active member. This is our club. Please let me know if you need anything and never hesitate to ask. Thank you.